My friend, infectious disease specialist, came over and did her rounds in the hospital. She went there. Dr. Maricel Gler. She said, "Your runner's lung saved you." I run a lot, and she said that was probably one of the factors that helped me survive it. I started having symptoms, fever, gradually progressive weakness, early in middle of March. And gradually, I felt weaker and weaker. I couldn't finish my runs anymore. I regularly ran. Then my wife told me, I think it's about time for us to go to the hospital after more than a week of those symptoms. We are here. We chose to come here because we are both staff members here in the hospital. We are both consultants, and we know the capabilities of the hospital, and we know the competence of the people. So that's why we chose to be here. I was shivering incessantly. I was in pain then because my body was just cramped all over. Then my doctors suggested that I be given a certain drug called tocilizumab, which is supposed to shut down the inflammation. We were of course, I spoke with my wife, Mitzi, who is an ophthalmologist here in this hospital. So I told her I didn't see very good results in my chest X-ray, and I told her I think I'm going to be intubated today. True enough, they said they will have to do early prophylactic intubation. They said it would be the best thing for me. They had very good results according to them. Good enough, 80% according to them, 80% survival. So 8 out of 10, I'll probably make it out of here alive. So if I didn't have an intubation, I know it's just going to get worse. And that day, what did I do? I wrote all my bank account numbers, I wrote my PIN numbers, I wrote my insurance policies, typed it down my laptop. I had my laptop back then, and put it all in one file and put that file in the center of my screen. And I told my wife all my information about my accounts and everything, insurance. It's all there in this folder, and there's a name there. That's your name in the center of the file. And that's the file you should look at if anything happens. It was sort of like saying goodbye without saying goodbye. So that evening, they came into my room. There was no ICU vacancy. A lot of people were confined in the hospital. So there was no ICU vacancy then. And they went into the room. They told us that that was the last ventilator available in the hospital. So they put me in their general anesthesia. They intubated me and hooked me up to the machine. The machine helped me breathe. Whenever I would inspire, the machine would kick in a bit. So it was assistive, The ventilator alarm sounded. It just rang crazy. So the alarm sounded. I was still breathing well, but I was telling myself, oh no, this is not the way I want to die. I'm not gonna die because of a mechanical failure. After a couple of hours, I think, they brought me to the ICU. Nagkabakante na. There was a vacancy already. My hands were tied to the bed. So I would just gestured with my hands, please come over. I couldn't speak because there was a tube in my mouth. They removed my restraints. They gave me paper and a pen, and the first thing I wrote was, please do not restrain my hands again. I promise not to extubate myself. It wasn't easy because I was not sedated. Tube in my mouth, I had the tube in my nose, a nasogastric tube where they fed me. I had a line, an IV line in my neck, which goes straight to my big vessels near my heart. I had a Foley catheter. I had monitors here and there, ECG. I had oxygen monitors. So I was really tied up to the bed for all intents and purposes. Most difficult part at the beginning was doing a number 2. She was very firm with her work. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, "No, Doc, we do not allow bedpans here. No bedpan policy. Please, I want a bedpan. I can do this on a bedpan. No, we do not allow bedpans in the hospital." Everyone who goes in and out of the ICU should wear the full wrap, the PPE, which is the body wrap, the body suit, the mask inside, the N95s. Your hands were gloved and taped. They were taped, even your booties. You had a plastic hood. You had the plastic hood in here. Sometimes you might even have to wear goggles inside. And I could see them fog up. They were doing their work, fogged up. 12-hour shifts. They were doing 12-hour shifts in those. And I was there in my hospital gown. I felt warm. I could imagine how they might be feeling in that. But they never complained. So I didn't have a right to complain myself about the heat. Just gave me a fan and just fanned myself with it. One of my doctors, Dr. Glare, Maricel Glare, nasa lubong ko siya sa may labas ng parking. And that's the first time na nakita ko siya after my discharge. Who cares about social distancing? That was the tightest hug that we had. Ay, my God, you're alive, you're here. Parang yun ang sinasabi niya. And ako, I'm alive because of you. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank MakatiMed, of course, for giving me my life again. My doctors, I couldn't name them all. There's Maricel Claire, Madel Sedili, Janice Kawili, my other doctors. My nurse, Cheryl, she was tough with me, and she was an angel, in the ICU. Thank my wife, of course, for being an inspiration as well to live on, gave me a reason to stay on. My daughters prayed for me constantly. My 2 daughters, Isabel and Micaela. And of course, the director then, is still the director, Dr. Bong Javier. He extended a lot of, MakatiMed's facilities for me, because people I knew were waiting at the emergency room, and they helped us. Nabigyan kami ng tulong doon.